Good evening. It is Tuesday, March 14th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We'll provide our opinions, positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and we're four wide this evening, joined by three of my partners in crime. J3's in the building. What's going on, J3?
Big Reg, what's up, Sense? What's up, Professor J?
J3.
Welcome back.
The professor's in the building. Welcome back, partner. We missed you. What's going on with you?
What's up, fellas? Good to be back in the house, hitting these hot sports topics. Let's get it in. Sense J3,
Yes,
Big
sir.
Reg, Big Red,
Yes.
and Johnny that's missing. We got you. Praise the Lord.
Absolutely. I appreciate you remembering our two other partners in crime, Jay Wills and Big Ed. We miss you, brothers, which we know y'all doing what y'all got to do. And Sense is in the building, bringing a little knowledge. What's up, partner?
Yes. What's going on, Big Reds? Professor J3,
Yeah.
J Wills, and Big Ed, who's not here, but definitely here in spirit, ready to talk some sports, ready to have some fun. Let's go, like we always do about this time.
All right, let's get it. So this evening, we're going to give you some quick hits, and we're going to try to make them quick this evening. And then we got to dig into three good, juicy topics. NFL news. You got the quote-unquote legal tampering phase before tomorrow's official free agency starts at 4 p.m. And then we had some big trades, including some draft trades. And then we got to give y'all some knowledge about the NCAA tourney, both men's and women's. Let you know kind of where we thinking with some things might shake out. And of course, Sense's favorite subject, we got to talk about the NBA. So we're going to do all that. But before we get out of here, we're going to give you our final post of the evening. So as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Yo, whenever somebody does something that's never been done in the history of their sport, we got to give them mad props. And fellas, got to start off the show by giving big props and congrats to American skier Mikaela Shiffrin. Over last weekend, over Friday and Saturday, she won two more events, the giant slalom and Saturday the slalom, to become the all-time World Cup Alpine racing champion, men or women, with her 87th victory.
Whew. That's amazing. That is amazing.
And the fact that she's only 27 years old and has only been competing at the high level for 11 years, she's broken the record of previous Hall of Famer Ingemar Stenmark. The record stood for 34 years, and Shiffrin did it in 3+ less years than it took Stenmark to do the original record. So she got many good years ahead of her if she decides to continue skiing, as long as she doesn't have any major injuries, which she hasn't had. Knock on some wood for. I mean, it's just incredible to be the best all time, especially if you do a little Googling and Google Mikaela Shiffrin, and they talk about what happened to her 3 years ago when she lost her dad, who was the person who got her into skiing, who went everywhere with her. Unexpectedly, he was doing some work on a family home and fell and hit his head and died. She didn't think she wanted to ski anymore. And for a year and a half, 2 years, she went through a very rough period, didn't ski well, and everybody thought it was over. So they didn't think she was going to catch the great American Lindsey Vonn to be the best female, much less catch Ingemar Stenmark. So congratulations to Mikaela Shiffrin. Job well done. This year is probably her second best season she's ever had. She won the overall slalom championship, the giant slalom championship, and the overall championship. And she's got 3 more events that she's scheduled to ski in this weekend in the season-ending finals. So, again, shout out to Mikaela Shiffrin. Whenever you do something that's never been done, we got to shout you out.
She learned early in life what her calling was, and her calling is definitely skiing. And even though she had a little bumps and bruises in the beginning, she still was able to regain her sight and her purpose to fulfill the dreams of her father, and that's to be number one in that position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking about history, we haven't said anything about this team, but it's getting late in the season, so I got to start giving them their credit. We got to shout out the Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins in NHL Hockey League have been on league record-setting pace all season. They lost their 10th game of the season just last week. They played 65 games, fellas.
That's amazing.
They only lost their 10th game last week. They are on
amazing.
record to have the most points scored in the season and the most wins if they continue at their current pace. So I know the fellas here on this show are Capitals fans for the most part, but when you're doing something that hasn't been done, we got to give you your props.
They in Boston, Big Reg. They cheating. I don't trust them. But kudos to them, man.
Yeah, I guess we can give them their props.
It could be their year. I mean, they've been due for a long time, so it could be their year.
Yeah. The only thing for the past like 5 or 6 seasons, the team that ended up the NHL regular season with the most points and the best record hasn't won the cup. So
Ooh,
you can do all this and end up out of the big money soon. So
fun fact.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got to give a shout out to Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu defeated Tony Harrison to win an interim 154-pound WBO junior middleweight title. Tszyu is undefeated, the son of former champion Costa Tszyu. But this sets up a huge bout for the legitimate undisputed junior middleweight champion Jermell Charlo sometime this summer or fall. And fellas, y'all know y'all generally ask me questions. Oh, they talking about this fight gonna happen. They talking about that fight gonna happen. I tell you, I believe it when they walking into the ring. I actually think we're gonna get some good fights this spring and summer. Some big names seem like they're lining up, like a undisputed heavyweight championship fight that may happen in April.
Really?
This Charlo fight that looks like it's going to happen. It looks like the fight for Tank and Garcia hopefully will come about. The 135-pound champion is supposedly that fight is almost done with the Ukrainian
I know you're talking about
who used to be the undisputed champion before he lost. So there's a bunch of good fights coming. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and make sure that they actually happen. But yeah, we got some good stuff coming. Late spring, early summer should be very, very, very good. I even saw that your boy Canelo looks like he's going to defend his super middleweight championships in Mexico. So be his first time he's doing a big fight in Mexico City. So
Big Red, you talking about Usyk? Talking about Usyk?
No, Usyk is supposed to be fighting for the heavyweight champion. No, the lightweight champion. I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. He was the one they used to call the Machine. He won 2 Olympic gold medals. Won the title in like his 3rd or 4th fight. I can tell you everything about him except for his name right now.
So you mean to tell me we still ain't gonna see the Earl Spence and
yeah, that ain't happening.
Bud Crawford
That ain't happening, bro.
I thought that was supposed to take place in like May or June. So I guess that's not gonna happen.
I mean, Big Reg called it. It wasn't like I believe it when I see it.
That ain't happening. Earl Spence is supposed to be fighting Keith Thurman next, and they fighting at 154 instead of 147.
So I don't
think Earl Spence coming back.
So he ducking Crawford. That's what you're saying.
I
mean, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
But it ain't happened, and I told y'all that wasn't gonna happen. So
Lomachenko fight.
Lomachenko, thank you.
Lomachenko. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And for you UFC fans, this Saturday you got UFC 286, and the headline is Edwards Usman 3. And if anybody saw Edmund Usman 2,
Yes.
Usman beat that man for 4 3/4 rounds and relaxed.
That
Close
one
to
hit
the-
quitter.
Yeah.
Close to the cage and got kicked in the face and went to sleep.
Yeah.
Say night night.
One hit quitter. One hit quitter.
So Kamaru Usman says, "I want my belts
Yeah,
back. You
he
aren't
go
better
close
than
it
me.
out.
You got lucky." So we will see. But they're fighting this time in Edwards' home turf in London, England. The fight, the main card actually is going to start at 5 p.m. because it's London. They 5 hours ahead of us. So if you want to catch the UFC 286, just remember it's Saturday, late afternoon, early evening, not the normal 10 p.m. start. So it should be a good one. And fan favorite Justin Gaethje fighting in the co-main. He always puts on a good fight. He doesn't always win, but all of his fights, either he get knocked out or whoever he's fighting get knocked out or choked out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
BJ want to know who gonna win the fight.
Oh, I got Usman.
Usman.
He won the last fight. He just relaxed. It was less than a minute left in the fight when he got kicked in the face and went to sleep.
Then he ain't win.
Never let your guard down. Hey, that's what matters at the end of the day.
Right. You gotta get to that last bell.
Absolutely.
Ding, ding.
All right, fellas. So let's move on to this NFL news because there's a bunch of it going on. So we're going to jump right into it. First and foremost, the Carolina Panthers pulled off one of the biggest moves in the offseason, trading up to move 8 spots up from number 9 to the first pick overall. They give the Chicago Bears their 9th pick this year. So that's a pick swap. They give them a 2nd round pick also this year. They're giving them a 2nd round pick in 2023 and a 1st round pick in 2024.
That's a haul right there, man.
Plus wide receiver DJ Moore.
To boot. I'm like, I hope it's worth it because
really,
they doing all this for someone that yeah, he looks good, but like, does he fit with your team? You know.
Well, the craziest thing about it, the reporting from multiple people is they're not set on which quarterback they want to take. So they did all this to trade up to make sure they get whichever quarterback they feel is the best. But if there's not a guarantee guy that that's my guy, I don't understand why you do all that. But you have an aggressive owner who, since he's purchased the team, they haven't had a real quarterback because they kicked Cam out the first year he purchased the team. And then when they bought Cam back, Cam wasn't Cam anymore. It's not football Cam. So they're like trying to reset this organization, new coach, new GM, and they're going to let the coach pick his quarterback. What's that look for?
Hey, here's how I know they don't know what they're doing. They just signed the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, to a 2-year contract. I mean, yeah, he's a backup, but what does that tell you? He's a bum. But all these other good backups that they could have brought in, that's the dude that they bring in. And then, they gave up this haul, and then you're going to try. It could be a smoke screen, but you're telling me you don't know which quarterback that you want to bring in. I'm not sold on Carolina because they have not made the proper choices in the none of the time since this guy's ownership. I mean, they brought in Baker Mayfield, and J3 just knew he was going to turn his career around.
He did. He turned right around and went to another team.
Went to LA.
And getting ready to go to another team. So we will see who they end up picking. And supposedly they're not considering the man from Alabama. Supposedly they're considering
Stroud,
Richardson, or Stroud.
I would go with Richardson actually because he's been kind of creeping up there as far as the rank.
You don't watch SEC football, bro. Trust me. Richardson is a
they
project.
Trying to tout your man is too small, even though he bulked up a little bit.
All I can say as far as football, playing quarterback, if you look at all the greats, 70% of it was mental.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nobody in this draft, I don't care what position, that has the mental capacity and the capability as far as football as the quarterback coming out of Alabama. So somebody gonna make a mistake and he gonna end up in a situation, and as long as he has a halfway decent line and a little bit of weapons, he gonna make people regret not picking him early.
Big Reg,
16 perhaps.
Real talk. Do you think he could be another Tua with injury proneness?
No. I think the Tua situation is a unique situation. He kept hitting his head in the exact same spot. Now, I understand the hip and all that, but the concussion things, how many times quarterbacks get tackled and how many of them actually have their head bounce off of the surface in the exact same spot multiple times? So I think all that was fluke, and Tua not knowing how to control his body, which is why he's taking Taekwondo now, to learn how to control his body when he's falling and taken down to be able to protect himself. So we will see. Some other big trades. Yeah, the LA Rams trade cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins. So the Dolphins believe in Tua because they loading up. And they got Ramsey for only a 3rd-round pick and a backup tight end.
That's because Ramsey hasn't been doing anything for the last couple of years.
He's overrated now. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think he's exposed.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the defense that exposed him. They weren't playing him properly. So the person he's going to play for is a person when he first went out to LA, which he was the number 1 cornerback, and they had him in a star role. He's playing back in that defense.
I hope you're right, because he looked more like Josh Norman last year than anything.
All flash, no substance. Flash.
Not stopping nobody.
I hear you.
Now, before we move on, I just want to say, out of that Carolina, the Bears were like the big winners in that trade, man. You basically bulk up your squad, and you pretty much are showing that you believe in Justin Fields as quarterback. I think they really won that trade.
Yeah,
sure.
Justin Fields can ball, man. They just need to put a team around him and protect him is the most important thing.
Agreed.
Either they believe in him or they, cover their bases. We're going to make sure that there's no excuses as much as possible for next year. And if you don't perform next year, we got 2 first-round picks that we can use to maneuver to move up for a quarterback next year. That's kind of the same situation Philly did with Jalen Hurts this year. Yeah, we kind of believe in you, but we got 2 first-round picks next year. So this year you got to prove it, and we're going to bring in all the resources. We're going to give you a receiver. We're going to try to beef up the line. We're going to do everything. And if you don't produce, then it's you, not us.
Yeah, but if you look at what Justin Fields did with that offense, I mean, again, he didn't have a lot of weapons, and he still was able to put up points and move the ball downfield. So you really can't blame the outcome of their offense on Justin Fields at all.
And with Rodgers moving on, that division is wide open. And now it looks like Cousins is going to lose a couple of weapons on that offense. So
we will see if Rodgers actually announces that he's moving on. We saw that the Jets are making moves to try to make him happy. Today they signed one of his boys,
Lizard.
Alan Lazard, gave him 4 years, $44 million.
Randall Cobb, they're trying to get.
Supposedly, Randall Cobb is, going to be something that happens maybe after the A-Rod thing. Supposedly, they're supposed to be in the OBJ sweepstakes, all to try to. So
they really rolling out the red carpet for him.
Let Rodgers say he actually going to go to New York and sign the contract, then I'll believe him. Because right now I'm tired of the drama. And I know he said earlier, he's like, this is my life. So if you don't like it, just tune it out. You know what, Aaron? I'm tuning you out.
I blame the NFL for that and ESPN because they really should do just that. Until he signs on the dotted line, we shouldn't talk about it.
It's like a Kawhi thing all over again, but in NFL. Like, we're waiting to see what Rodgers says. Where's he going to go?
Did he say Kawhi?
He sure did.
No, remember that big old.
We remember.
Oh yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders in a move that all I can understand is the coach is concerned for his job, so he trying to get all of the previous leaders on offense out of the team so he can run things his way. Trades Darren Waller to the New York Giants
I was
for
mad
a third
at that.
round
Yeah,
pick.
that made me mad
I
too.
was mad. Like, are you serious, man? You might as well just gave him for a box of cookies.
Because you know who can't Washington ever check the opposing team's tight
Tight
end.
end.
Yep.
So it's in our Durham division.
Yeah. And then they had the nerve to release that the reason why they got rid of Derek Carr because he didn't fit their culture. Derek Carr was the culture of the Raiders. He held the team together when everything was going to crap. So that lets you know that a coach is really nervous.
Hold up, Big Reg, you hear that? I think the phone is ringing. Aaron Rodgers demanding that Adams get bought out of Raiders.
Come to the Jets.
And lastly, got to mention it. Indianapolis coach trade cornerback Stephon Gilmore to the Cowboys on a fifth-round pick.
Oh my God!
Now, Gilmore was the preeminent lockdown corner, but he is 31 now, going to be turning 32. So he's not the same guy, but he's still giving them a legit number 2 corner to play on side of the young fella. That definitely helped out there. And they got their boy Vanderish back on the cheap. I think he signed for 2 years for only like $13 million total. So they're trying to put that team together to make a run.
Animus believes in that stuff.
At the Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles took 2 tough losses. They lost defensive tackle Javon Hargrove, and then they lost him to San Francisco.
I know. That's what sucks. Yeah, that's the part.
How much more you need on that defensive line, San Francisco? I don't understand that.
They preparing for the future.
Yeah,
they are.
They got to pay Bosa soon.
They don't care. They're trying to win.
Dig it out.
Next man up, right?
They're like, we can't win on offense, so we got to win on defense. They also lost linebacker T.J. Edwards in free agency. But for all the Eagles fans, just calm down and breathe.
Right. They got
just remember, last year, your first-round pick and your second-round pick were both from the Georgia National Championship teams, the leaders of their defensive tackle Jordan Davis and linebacker Nakobe Dean. They barely got any run this year. Guess what? They ready to go. Now they understand the system. They can be fully unleashed. So you got backups. And remember, they got them 2 first-round picks. So they're going to I'm sure they're going to use one of those first-round picks on defense, if not both of them. They did re-sign one of their cornerbacks, James Bradbury. He got a 3-year deal, $20 million guaranteed, $38 million. So they bringing that defense back together, and the offense is scary. So, and again, we're not going to talk about the Jets and that man anymore until it happens. If it happens, it happens. Shout out to Daron Payne and the Commanders. At least they did get one thing right. They signed Payne to a 4-year, $90 million deal. So they keep their bookend defensive tackles from Alabama in the house, making them solid. So
and we beefed up our offensive line.
That's why they couldn't pay Heineke.
Yeah. Heineke's ready to go though.
So, yeah, he got a nice deal from Atlanta.
Yeah. So Professor, you wasn't here last week. I gotta ask your opinion, bro. This Lamar Jackson thing. First of all, the non-exclusive tag to me was insult, but now I understand why they did it. People don't want to talk about collusion, so I'm not going to say collusion.
Right.
But it's been very strange that as soon as they announced the non-exclusive tag, within 2 hours, 6 teams that need quarterbacks said they weren't going to pursue Lamar.
Right.
How'd that happen? First of all, why you even got to say, I'm not going to pursue anybody? You don't have to say anything. Yeah. 6 teams made sure that the news media knew we aren't going to pursue Lamar. And come tomorrow at 4 p.m., which is when they can officially start offering free agents offer sheets that are on the tag. If Lamar Jackson doesn't get a offer sheet, then I don't know what else you can say. But the owners are saying we are not going to do what Lamar is asking us to do, and that deal that they did in Cleveland, and people forget that deal that they did in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. We ain't doing no more of those.
Keep in mind, and that deal in Cleveland got restructured just recently. So
yeah, but he's still getting all his money.
Yeah,
they just moving salary to signing bonus and spreading it out over more years. He getting his money. He gonna see all $230 million of that money. He ain't giving up that. So I just wanted to get your opinion because me and J3 done talked about this for about the last 3 or 4 weeks. What you got?
Yeah, so for this, there's a few things that are in play, and a couple of them don't per se have to do with Lamar Jackson. The owners in the league are highly pissed at Haslam for the deal that he made with Watson because they don't want to move the league to fully guaranteeing money. And they certainly don't want to see our type of players getting that type of money playing that type of position. The other part is that they don't want to cave into a player that is agentless, right? Mm-hmm. Running his own show, and you can do that. What is that going to send a message to the rest of the NFL that they can, bypass having an agent? Because that's big money for the agents in the NFL as well. If you start cutting them out of the pie, then you're having a bigger issue than they're ready to deal with. Lamar Jackson, not only do we know that he is entitled to whatever he asks for, but it's also a slap in the face how everybody is salivating over Aaron Rodgers, who I believe that he's washed up. And he showed you a little bit of that last year. And everybody want to give him excuse because of his thumb, but Russell Wilson had a thumb issue as well, but everybody talking about he washed up and he should have never got his contract. So there's several things that are going on here. Lamar right now at this point, when I saw his tweets from today, he's on the verge of just telling Baltimore, I'm done, just trade me. Because you want the rest of the league to do your work for you with this non-exclusive tag to say, okay, if teams come along and they say we'll pay it, then the Ravens can then come back and match the offer. But still, it's doing Lamar a disservice because we know that he's worth much more than what they just recently placed on the table. I know that there's at least one team up 95 that would give up some things in order to bring him in. But then Aaron Rodgers, if he ends up messing around and reneging on this Jets thing, then the Jets are in a position to go after Lamar and pay him the type of money that he wants. So this remains to be seen how this actually works out. But yeah, Lamar is getting done dirty, but we know that. But we need to make sure that we are vocal about the reasons why, because the NFL won't be truthful about it. Of course, they've been colluding because there's no way 6 teams off the bat come out and say they're out if they hadn't been talking about it firsthand.
Excellent point. And the point about the agents, excellent point. I got to give props. Stephen A. was the first person I heard talk about that. He was like, I'm sure there's been pressure being put on these teams from these agents saying, hey, we can't have all these superstar players thinking they could just do whatever, do whatever they want and leave us out of the loop. And I was like, yeah. So the agents talk to the teams and like, look, this isn't good. And this is a partnership. We help funnel players to you. So yeah, Lamar unfortunately is being made an example, which is terrible that he has to go through this again after all he's done, especially for Baltimore and giving up. And I think if it messes around and he doesn't get an offer sheet, Lamar ain't gonna pay for that $32 million. Lamar will sit out and force the Ravens' hands and tie up the Ravens' money all year. Then he can show up week 10. People like, oh, he got it. Then they can just charge him in. No. All Lamar has to do is sit out all season till week 10, Show up week 10 and say, "Oh, I got a hamstring."
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's that going to do to the fan base at Baltimore who pay all that money to come see him play?
Yeah.
Right. And see, that's sad. You're depriving the fans the opportunity to see a player who they know is great, but they want to be all diplomatic about how they're going to pay this individual when he's worth the money. Yeah. Plain and simple.
And let's be real. Their jersey sales would recoup the money that they would pay him alone.
Yep.
So for them not to do this, we know it's collusion because it's easy for Bisciotti just to write the check and move on.
Something so simple they just chose to make.
Just imagine the Atlanta Falcons, the next Michael Vick. How many more seats, butts he gonna put in the seats? And like you said, jersey sales. He gonna make that 50 million up.
Yeah.
It's just those two things.
Yep.
So the Colts, who've been looking for a replacement, why ain't the Colts in?
Right.
And the Jets, why you running around spending millions of dollars on players that you probably wouldn't even been thought of when you got a young progressive team and you trying to sign a 39-year-old when you got a 26-year-old MVP that's getting ready to hit his prime? And everybody said, well, the way he played was because the offense he was in. He had to do that.
Yeah.
Put him in a different offense. People look up Lamar Jackson, Louisville, and see what you see. Lamar Jackson was throwing for 3,000-4,000 yards in college for 2 years straight, but they say he can't throw.
Give him a decent line.
And Big Reg, the Jets coaching staff would be a perfect fit for Lamar.
But okay, so we're gonna leave that alone. All right, y'all hear where we going? But let's talk about this NCAA tournament, fellas. And y'all see, y'all know I usually don't wear no gear except unless it's post gear. But tonight I had to represent.
Of course you did.
Because history was made for my University of Alabama. The men's team not only got the first ever #1 seed, they got the #1 overall seed. That's right. This football school is now balling, fellas.
That was impressive. I was impressed. Like, man.
Did y'all see the seed UNC got y'all?
Yeah, we saw. They did the nice thing. They said, NIT, we appreciate. We know y'all's gonna give us the #1 seed, but we gonna sit this one out.
I wanted to get that out for y'all clown me first. So
now I'm gonna leave UNC alone. I'm only one talking about the seeds because I want to give some people some information if you haven't already filled out your brackets. So in the men's bracket, your #1 seeds, Alabama #1 overall in the South. You got Houston in the Midwest. Problem with Houston, one of their star players, guard Sasser, pulled a groin. Didn't play in the championship game, and Memphis beat them in the championship game. We don't know how healthy he's going to be. That's a problem. You got Purdue in the East. All Purdue really has is Edey. But Edey's 7'6", and very few people can match up with him.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
and then you got Kansas in the West trying to repeat, but Kansas lost 2 of their forwards within the last 3 weeks that won't be playing. So Kansas is limited.
Come on, Howard. Get them.
Yeah, I felt bad when I saw it. As soon as I saw that TV, I was like, damn, why they have to do Howard like that?
At least they got him.
That's an upset in the making right there. Have faith. That's an upset in the making.
Your #2 seeds, you got Arizona in the South, Texas in the Midwest, Marquette in the East, UCLA in the West.
That's my
UCLA was balling. They had an injury. One of their forwards got hurt, may not play in the tourney. So they got an issue. Texas, if you're looking for a high seed to sneak into the Final Four, Texas beat Alabama in the season. They beat Kansas twice in a week. University of Texas has all the makings of a Final Four team, and they could win it all. Marquette, shout out to Shaka Smart, left Texas before they fired him because you know they didn't want to have a black coach, which is ironic because the interim coach for Texas this year is a black coach, the assistant that had to get a job. He got Marquette balling. So both of those teams, I could see Texas upsetting Houston if they end up in the matchup, if Houston makes it to the Elite Eight. And I can also see Marquette beating Purdue because Marquette plays defense like no other, and they can speed Purdue up, which will nullify Edey because if you get him running, has issues.
Mm.
The number 3 seeds, Baylor, South, Xavier, Midwest, Kansas State in the East, Gonzaga. Kansas State is a great story because Kansas State has the former Florida forward who, unfortunately, Deontay Johnson, who collapsed on the floor, who was one of the first athletes when we were going through COVID, who they said had a heart issue. He finally got cleared. Florida would not clear him. He got clearance from the NBA and got clearance from other doctors, and the NCAA went to Kansas State, ended up a second-team All-American this year. So shout out to Keontae Johnson and Kansas State, just a sentimental thing. And if you want a 4 seed that you really think, 2 of them, Virginia, because they play that ugly, slow-down basketball that if you're not used to playing can really mess up your team, and UConn. UConn is balling.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, I'm sorry, Professor, but the Dukies, I got to give John Shaw some props. They done won 10 in a row. They playing their best basketball of the season, and those young players have come to the front.
They don't like that.
And being in the East, they can definitely beat Tennessee. They can definitely beat Kansas State. They can give Marquette some issues, and I think they can give Purdue some issues. So Duke is the 5 seed that might be the one to come out and end up in the Final Four.
I got Tennessee beating them Big Reds. Don't worry about it.
I hope Tennessee, because I'm not yeah. Because where I'm from, it used to be Maryland and anybody playing Duke. So not a big fan, but I gotta give props with props. John Shaw, he was struggling in the beginning of the season, but he finally got the team on board and doing this thing. And it's hard when the man that's taking over from a GOAT.
What happened to Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan playing with UNC used to play. Was supposed to play. NIT.
Yeah, they playing right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, BJ. You tell them.
I hope you're right, BJ. On the ladies' side, it's really simple.
Gamecocks.
A number 1 seed has won the women's tournament all but 2 times. So one of the 1 seeds is going to win. And if South Carolina stays injury-free and plays 80% of their game or better in all their games, there's nobody that can beat South Carolina. They just too long, too big, too experienced. And their senior class, their 5 seniors, ain't trying to go out losing their last game in the NCAA tournament. And if you think about it, remember, there was the season where they canceled the tournament. South Carolina was ranked number 1 in the country and was an odds-on favorite. They were blowing everybody out that year. They should have won the championship. Second year, they lost to Stanford. They just won the championship last year. So these young ladies trying to win back-to-back championships and go to 3 straight finals. So, but the other number 1 seeds, Indiana, Virginia Tech, Stanford, are all nice things. And again, shout out to Brenda Fries and the University of Maryland. With all her turnover and all the people that left the program, she still got her team to a number 2 seed with Utah. UConn is sneaky. UConn got a number 2 seed. They got AZ Fudd back 2 games before the season ended. If UConn gets the right draw, I could see them being able to upset Virginia Tech and get to the Final Four as long as AZ Fudd can play the whole tournament. I done talked a while. Y'all got anything to add to any of y'all predictions, any upsets or teams y'all want to point out to the people?
I mean, I already gave my sleeper with UCLA. Barring like any other potential injury. I would also go for say be on the lookout for Xavier. I kind of like Xavier in the way they've been playing lately too. So that's another team I keep an eye out for.
My sleeper is Baylor. I really think they're gonna creep up and they're gonna smash a couple of people early, like NC State. Yeah, they're gonna move them out the way. But I'd love to see them match up with Missouri and then your Alabama, Big Reg. And what's that? I got them in the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. So that matchup to me is going to be a really good game. And the winner out of there got a chance to win it all. So that's my sleeper. I got Baylor.
Interesting. Baylor's a tough squad. One thing about Alabama, and even though y'all see him repping, I got to be fair. Alabama has issues with teams that want to be physical because they're a young team. Most of their players from the previous teams, with the exception of their two guards, one's a transfer in, one's a junior. Everybody else, primary players are freshmen. Freshmen and the center's a sophomore. So people who can get physical and get real rough with them, slow them down, and sometimes Alabama has slow starts, and then they have to use all their energy to kind of catch up. So if you can be physical with Alabama and hope they have an off shooting night from three, because they're going to shoot 33s in a game, you can have a chance. But if you let Mr. Miller get going, good luck.
Yeah. And my last one,
the
Mr.
mustache.
Timmons, because I think with Kansas's injury woes right now, they might get put out beforehand. But if they end up seeing Gonzaga in the Elite Eight, I think Gonzaga is going to win that game and get on to the Final Four. So I don't think Gonzaga is done yet. I really think they got something left in the tank. I don't think they can win it all, but I think they can get to the Final Four.
I'm so tired of hearing about Gonzaga.
I know you are.
It's like highly touted. Always number one. Always is, but just never. Like,
but this season hasn't been that. They actually lost the regular season to St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't the regular season champs. They did end up winning the tourney, but they've been flying under the radar, so they don't have that pressure. So they might be able to make a run.
They my Golden State Warriors of this tournament. They just flying under the radar, and then boom.
We'll see.
Right. Golden State Warriors brings up a nice segue. Let's talk about the NBA. And fellas, we got to start, unfortunately, but with the elephant in the room. It was reported yesterday that Ja Morant checked himself into a Florida counseling facility, an in-house facility. No timetable for his return, but anytime you checking yourself into the facility, you generally going to be there for 30 days.
That's not necessarily true.
Okay.
That's not necessarily true. When you check yourself in, bro, you actually have the opportunity to check yourself out. So that's not true.
I stand corrected. Yes, he can check himself out anytime, but I believe this is a preemptive move to try to lessen the impact, because the NBA still can levy a suspension for him having that gun with him in Denver on a road trip.
Yeah.
You said the key term, preemptive move. Does this young man really understand the gravity of what he did, or is he just doing this so he can lessen his blow from the NBA? So I hope they come down on him as hard as they would have if he never checked himself in, because I don't think he did it. I mean, he gets it, because there have been some incidents that have come out that he's been involved in, including one volleyball game where his sister plays for high school ball. He and his grown men entourage coming in, they ready to fight other high school players and people in the bleachers. I mean, it's more and more of this mentality coming out. And then I look at his father starting static with Shannon Sharp at a Lakers game, and I'm like, where is he learning this behavior from? Why does he feel like he has so much to prove? And I know he understands recent NBA history with Javaris Crittenton and Gilbert Arenas with the guns in the locker room. So And then you walk out on a players only meeting that veteran Steven Adams calls to try to rein you in and other young players on the team, and you walk out and go right to a club. Something not registering with him, and I don't think he gets it yet. So I hope they levy the full penalty upon this young man.
It's that devil called fame. It's that, it got you thinking, you bigger than what you are, giving you that swell head. And like, you don't have wise counsel, unfortunately, and your pops, and you got a whole bunch of yes men around you. Yeah, that's what the results going to be. So
it's sad. It's truly sad, because he could have been one of the future faces of the NBA, and he's actually going in the opposite direction. And you're right, since he doesn't have sound counsel around him, telling him how stupid he looks and how badly he's ruining his actual image.
Yeah. And he's on a team that is ascending upward, that could really challenge for a title. And this is the stuff that he pulls. It's selfishness, man. He's just thinking about himself.
Agreed.
Yeah. When he signed that big deal, the 5-year extension that doesn't even kick into next year, I think he just lost some perspective. So hopefully he takes the time and takes it seriously. But there is precedence out there, because we mentioned Gilbert Arenas got 50-game suspension for bringing a gun into the locker room. Yeah. And guess what? Bringing a gun on the road is just like bringing a gun into the locker room. And one thing that I was a little salty about, but I guess that's how they do, there was no need for them to put out the pictures of him in that gentleman's club and all that. There was no need for that. Yeah. We know why people go to a gentleman's club. You don't need to do that.
Right. But you know where that came from. Somebody leaked those photos to try to, pour more mud on the situation and make it, even more controversial. So
hey, was he in there with Lemon Pepper Lou?
Right.
And BJ, I agree totally. Yeah. You don't need to be his buddy. You need to be his dad, especially when you see him making bad decisions. Yeah. On other NBA news, if y'all boy KD don't have bad luck, I don't know what kind of luck KD. Right. I mean, nobody else shooting. He's shooting at a basket by himself and hit a dance spot. Twist his ankle. They say he's not going to be back probably till playoff time.
KD, you should have came to Washington. That's karma.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Professor. I'm like, could that be karma? Like, you just shunned us, and everywhere you go, it just seems to fail. It might be that KD curse. You don't know.
Yeah. Other injury news: the Celtics are concerned about Robert Williams. He's got a strained hamstring. Big man with a hamstring, and they're gonna need him if they want to try to win a championship. That was one thing they was missing last year. The Warriors situation is crazy, and I understand why they're doing it, but not knowing why Andrew Wiggins has missed the past month, and now it sounds like he may not come back at all this season. So I just wish Andrew Wiggins and his family are the best, because obviously it's something very serious that's going on that's keeping them away. Wow. But I mean, it's crazy. And without Andrew Wiggins, the Warriors will be able to make some noise in the playoffs, but they can't win it all.
They can't win it.
Jonathan Kuminga did the same thing KD did the day after KD did it.
What?
In the layup line, going up, twist his ankle. He's out for, they say, a couple of weeks. But the good news is Gary Payton III supposedly is progressing, and they hope to have him back before the playoffs start. So those are the big news. But the Grizzlies, you mentioned Steven Adams. I forgot about Steven Adams. Steven Adams, who they was hoping would be back, had to get stem cell injections in his right knee last week, which means he's out for another month while the stem cells try to, do what they're supposed to do. So that's not real good for a big man. And then their power forward, who've been kind of like playing center, Brandon Clark,
he out for the season towards
Achilles tendon. So things getting rough for.
Well, I mean, to their credit though, they've been trying to keep their team afloat. Now, granted, it was without Kyrie and Luka that they got that victory against the Mavericks.
Oh yeah,
but they trying.
Oh, don't forget about Jamal Murray, Big Red.
He's playing tonight though. I'm
he's back?
watching
He's
him
back?
now. He's playing tonight. So yeah, I was
because they gonna need him.
If Denver is going to do anything in the playoffs, which is what they kill Jokic about, you don't win in the playoffs, well, you ain't had two of your players. If Jamal Murray is having knee issues again, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Most people don't watch Denver basketball. They're on a 3-game losing streak, their first 3-game losing streak all year. The last 2 games, Jokic has had 30-point triple-doubles, and the team has lost.
Like it's nothing.
That's sad. That's sad. He don't have no
30-point triple-doubles.
Wow.
Goes back to my point about Denver. It's like, again, it's like a Gonzaga to NBA. You like highly touted.
Thanks.
Highly touted. But when it comes to the playoffs,
low.
They're the Gonzaga to NBA.
Low.
Where's the lie?
Yeah, I hear you. But we all know who the best player in the NBA is, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he proved it after missing a couple of games. Giannis is the dude.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, BJ.
They may give Embiid the MVP this year for a sympathy MVP. Giannis got his team with the best record in the NBA. We got to shout out to his supporting cast, of course. Middleton's been looking better and better. The big man who got into a fight last night because somebody tried to run up on Giannis. He's like, hey, we ain't having that here.
That's right.
What y'all doing?
Right. That's what I'm talking about. They gritty.
And the point guard of point guards who keeps telling people, y'all must have forgot. I used to be able to drop 25, 30 anytime you want.
I love this team.
But I don't have to because I let Giannis do his thing. Giannis dropped 48 last night after missing 2 games.
Jay Rue the damage. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
No, I've always said Milwaukee's coming out the East, man. Like that's just that's a foregone conclusion. Milwaukee coming out the East.
Just the East? They winning it all. They winning it all.
If they stay healthy, I see the Bucks winning it all.
Okay, yeah, let's get it right.
If they stay healthy, I see the Bucks win it all. Right now, the Celtics are struggling.
Who gonna beat them?
I ain't going that far yet.
The Lakers ain't gonna beat.
Who gonna beat them out the West?
Right.
I think can I withhold my opinion?
You just threw Denver under the bus. It ain't gonna be Golden State. Who you calling?
I say, let me reserve my opinion.
You know who he calling. He waiting to see if LeBron comes back. The playoffs start and get healthy. Playing with these new young bucks.
You do not want that smoke.
Wow. If young bucks are balling,
you don't want that smoke.
Wow.
But your boy, you saw what your boy did last game, right? And they need him. They need him.
AD.
He balled for 3 games and then took a game off.
Yep.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
He low managing.
He know he glass.
And he ain't gonna get no slander on AD today, man. Leave him alone.
and a sneaky little loss. Y'all lost Mo Bamba to a high ankle sprain. He's gonna be out at least a month. And he was helping because he was coming in playing a lot of the center, so AD could play the 4.
Yeah, we're gonna sign somebody to a 10-day. Probably.
Dwight Howard.
Heck no. I'll say Boogie before Dwight Howard.
Oh, he's even worse.
No.
Since he can't stay healthy.
All right. So I will also say Moses Brown, who the Knicks just waived. We can sign him off. So he's a solid center that can give you. Yeah, we'll be all right.
I think Pau Gasol will suit up for you.
He gotta get his cane out first.
Whatever.
That's ugly.
He gotta get his cane out.
Mo Bamba will be all right. Mo Bamba will be good. 4 weeks.
And in the East, I gotta give a shout out to James Harden. I gotta give him a little respect. James Harden leading the league in assists. He swallowed his pride. He's letting Joel be the scoring star but James Harden is the one that's making Philly do what they do right now. Now, come playoffs, we'll see.
And they will lose again in the playoffs. It'll be all that, and just to get broke right back down.
That's right.
Back to reality.
Yeah. Lastly, on the West, got to give Sacramento some love.
Yeah.
I think Memphis kind of course corrected. I'm not sure how long they're going to be able to do that. I think Memphis got a good Sacramento's got a good shot of overtaking Memphis and ended up the number 2 seed in the West, which would be crazy. But it's going to come down to, can KD come back?
Can Steph carry the Warriors on his back?
And stay healthy? And can Chris Paul stay healthy in the West? And with the Golden State Warriors, is Wiggins going to come back at least for the playoffs?
And they're going to need Devin Booker, too.
And J3, what about your Clippers, man? What's going on with them?
Man, the Clippers are right where they need to be.
Yeah.
Spectating.
Clippers doing Clippers things. That's what they do. Yeah.
Spectating.
Yeah. Your Lakers, if they keep playing the basketball they're playing now with the young guys, your point guards got to stop trying to be a scorer.
Yeah, you got to play more
and fit into the flow that the other guys had made while he was out with his injured ankle. Mm-hmm. I think the Lakers could move up enough where they don't have to play in the play-in tournament. Right now they're 9th, but they're only 2.5 games out of the 6th slot where they don't have to play in the play-in. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I can tell you what I would love. I would love for the Lakers to play Denver in the first round. I would love to see that.
That would be a good one. Yeah.
That would be an interesting matchup with LeBron back. Yeah. Oh man, Jamal Murray grabbing that knee again.
We can actually move up to the 8th spot if we beat the Pelicans tonight.
I would love to see that.
The 7th and 8th spot are still the play-in.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get to the 6th though. Now, I'm saying,
All right. Anybody else got anything else for the NBA?
Zion was like it looked like he's gonna be out another season. I don't see him coming back.
He ain't ready.
What long term? What's gonna happen with him though? He don't look like he'll ever be right.
He's got to get with some body mechanics people. I know they tried that with some other people, some sports physios and other, and figure out the right weight for him for his frame. Beef up his. I know he hired a chef, but really getting to not just having a chef, but having a nutritionist and all that. Because I think he's got to play probably 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
And learn how to properly stretch, recuperate, and all that, because he's carrying so much mass. A body's not made to carry that much mass and have that much explosion and come down that hard.
He needs to talk to LeBron. Seriously.
He needs cardio.
His body, right, man? Why is he always playing overweight?
He needs cardio. That's all it is, just cardio.
He's overweight all the time because he's always hurt, so he can't train.
Right.
And previously he wasn't eating right. So now at least he's trying to eat right. But if you always hurt, you can't train.
Yeah. BJ, I was thinking the same thing. Like Greg Oden keep popping into my mind when we talk about him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never get that. What was it with Greg Oden? His foot?
Micro knee. He had micro fracture in his knees. Yeah. Sort of what plagued my man from Phoenix, Stoudemire, late in his career. Yeah.
Mark Stoudemire.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. All right, fellas, it is time for us to get up out of here. Before we do that, we got to give the folks our final post of the evening. J3, what you got for us?
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Wayne Horton, my cousin. Threw a $2.99 last week on the bowling alley. Good job, partner.
I see you, Weezy. I see you. I know you hate missing that one pin, but hell of a job, partner. Enjoy that ring.
Yes, sir.
Sense, what you got for me?
I just want to pour some out for the homie Patrick Ewing, who got fired after 6 seasons. And then the words of Lizzo, was about damn time.
It was time. Yeah,
Excellent. Professor J, what you got for us?
Yeah, that was a bad experiment. I just want to give love and shout out to Ed Magic Williams. We were able to lay him to rest and send him out in style. That's my wife's uncle, my father-in-law's brother who passed away. Learned a tremendous amount of stuff from him and learned that he did so many things with his life. Not only was he a great amateur in golf, but he flirted with the pros and the PGA Tour in the 70s and 80s. His legacy that he left with people that he taught the game of golf, people that he taught math to, and he even did some civil rights stuff. He actually knew Ralph Abernathy and had Abernathy come up to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to participate in some of their marches and things after the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So he was called Magic because he was just great on the golf course and people just loved to be around him. So a life well lived, and I just wanted to salute him.
Salute.
Rest in peace. I want to end it talking about college basketball. First, we lost another legend. Ended up leaving, unfortunately, in a not great manner. Syracuse University's head coach finally was relieved of his duties, probably stayed a little maybe a year too long. But here's a man who played there, became a manager after he graduated, became assistant coach, then the head coach. So shout out, great job. His successor was already in place, a former Syracuse Orangeman. So shout out to the Orange. And then it's NCAA time. The best weekend of college basketball is this weekend. You got the men's real games, even though there's some playing games tonight and tomorrow. But the men's real games start Thursday and Friday. Games all day long. Then the next Saturday and Sunday, the women's games start Friday, Saturday, and go Sunday, Monday. So you got college basketball all weekend. Please indulge. Check out the ladies. Give them a shot too. And enjoy college basketball because it's their time of year. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate the time and the opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for our live show. If for some reason you can't catch us live, you can also download this show and previous shows via our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. All you have to do is put in Positions on Sports Talk Show, do the search. If you do find us, please do us a favor, like and subscribe. Subscription's free. So you can listen to all our previous shows, or if you prefer the podcast route, you can check us out on all your major podcast platforms. Again, Positions on Sports Talk Show. We'll see you here next Tuesday. We're going to talk NCAA. We can talk about the Sweet 16 for the men's and women's. See how this NFL free agency shakes out for the first weekend. And then, of course, we got to talk NBA. So we'll see you next week. Y'all stay safe. Peace.
Peace.